Warning: when we say matrix in this video, we do not mean a specific political, cultural, or religious system. Instead, we are talking about what seems to be at the root of all of these. What makes people do and feel things like anger and worry. It is basically making us slaves to what our surroundings wants. As we think about the human condition, it becomes clear that the outside world has a big effect on and power over many of us. Our happiness often depends on getting what we want from the outside world, and we feel sad when it does not give us what we want. The likes and dislikes of others have a big effect on us. Praise makes us feel better, while dislike makes us feel bad. It is interesting that the more we want something, the more we will give up to get it. On the other hand, the more we dislike something, the more we are willing to pay to stay away from it. These cycles of wanting, not wanting, loving, hating, liking, and not liking keep us in a constant state of fear. This makes us easy to control through shaming, blaming, and the appeal of outside forces like big businesses, political parties, and cults, who all want something from us. In this way, the world rules over us by hanging carrots on sticks like a donkey rider, and most of us follow along like cattle from birth to death. But what if we chose not to take the carrot? What if we decided to get away from this system? Stoicism is an old way of thinking about how to stop being controlled by our surroundings. It is important to remember that getting out of this system does not mean killing our environment. The outside world is not to blame. The universe works the way it does, and even though we can have some effect on it, we cannot really change it. We cannot get away from the outside world, which has things like sunshine, rain, and wind that affect a farmer's goods. The problem is not that these conditions exist. The problem is that we are slaves to them. So why do we let the swift waves of fate carry us away? Why do even the smallest bad luck and misfortunes make us feel like puppets? Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, said, "Men are not upset by things. They are upset by the ideas and beliefs they have about things." Socrates' view shows, for example, that death is not inherently terrible. The fear comes from the fact that we think death is terrible. So, when we run into problems, get upset, or feel sad, we should not blame other people but ourselves and our own values. As long as we put money into the system, it will work. The more we blame bad luck and good luck on things that are natural and out of our control, the more chance controls how we feel. Stoicism, on the other hand, gives us knowledge that can help us get out of this system. Here are 7 stern ideas that can help us replace our highly fragile, unpredictable, and tumultuous way of life with a peaceful and free one. Before we start, please make sure you are signed up, and as always, do not be a wimp. Keep going until the end. Do not pass up the chance to learn to control your feelings. Get the ebook on Knowing Yourself right now. Click the link in the first comment that has been saved to see what you're really capable of. The most important thing is to stay happy no matter what. How much time have we lost wishing for good things to happen and fearing bad things to happen? How many hours have we cried because the future did not go the way we thought it would? People have gotten good at dealing with fate and, as a result, taking the pain that comes with it. Our dislike of doubt has turned into a profitable business, and our fear of trouble gives people a chance to take advantage of us. Many people try to sell us promises about the future, giving us false senses of safety, protection for ourselves and our loved ones, and claims that we will not have to go through anything bad. As slaves to our likes and dislikes, we try to trick fate by changing our surroundings in order to avoid bad luck. But we cannot lock every door in the huge house that is life, and we cannot walk down every street and path. Even though a lot of time, effort, and money is spent on protection, fate always wins. So, the only way to really get out of the system is to accept whatever comes our way. By adopting this point of view, we will be less likely to let others take advantage of our fears and will be less upset when bad things happen, instead of spending a lot of money trying to fight what is going to happen anyway. Seneca said it very well. Then why should we be angry? Why do we need to be sad? We are ready for what will happen. Nature should do whatever she wants with her own bodies. Let us be happy no matter what happens and think firmly that it is not anything we own that dies. Number 2. People care less and less about their image. Stoics do not care much about their image. It is nice to have, but you do not need it to be happy. Also, just like anything else outside of us, we cannot really change our image. Some people work hard their whole lives to build a good image, only to have it ruined by one mistake. On the other hand, some people act badly and do not care about their place in society, but they quickly become famous and admired. The result is clear. A person's image changes like the wind. The more we care about our reputation, the more we depend on other people's opinions, which are always hard to predict. Also, when we care too much about what other people think, we make ourselves easy to manipulate and use, and in the end, we become slaves to the surroundings. Epictetus said that our wish for a good name should not get in the way of our mental health. If we have to, we should be ready to take things like shame, blame, being left out, and being laughed at. If doing so helps us find peace and freedom, then these things are in our power and are not affected by or depending on what other people think or say. Third, you should learn how to be patient. Most of the time when we are in a bad situation, the first thing we want to do is get out of it quickly. This is not always possible though. Because of this, we often turn to whining, mourning, and feeling bad because we think we deserve a better situation. In reality, we do not have a right to anything, and sometimes the best way to deal with something is to just put up with it. How often have we gone off our chosen road, gone against our moral compass, or given up on our ideals just because we did not want to feel pain? Pain has a lot of power, and it can make good people do bad things or stop themselves from doing good things. Pain is still used to control people, and when we try to avoid it, we fall into the trap set by those who are trying to control us. So, we are ready to give up our freedom in exchange for a little break from pain and discomfort. When it is hard to deal with painful events, we can look to Marcus Aurelius's advice. His thoughts show us that being patient does not have to be a bad thing. Even if the end result of our endurance is death, it can serve a purpose and help us in some way. Everything that happens is either worth it or not, he said. If you can handle it, you should. Do not be so whiny. If it is too hard to take, do not complain. If you destroy it, that will be the end of it as well. Just remember that you can get through anything if you think it is in your best interest to do so, in what you like or what you are. This way of doing things is kind of like how Albert Camus saw the Greek mythical figure Sisyphus. The gods told Sisyphus that he would always have to push a rock uphill. His way to freedom was to accept his fate fully, so that his sentence stopped being punishing. Letting go of people is number 4. Strong ties to people can have long-lasting and often negative effects. These ties can lead us to a point where the fear of losing the person we are attached to starts to run our lives and makes us do crazy things to stay together. In the Star Wars prequels, the story of Padme and Anakin's love is a vivid example of the risks of unhealthy bonds. It shows how they let dark forces control and enslave us. Palpatine uses Anakin's fear of losing Padme to his advantage, which has bad results. If Anakin had taken a different approach to love, not one that was suffocating, afraid, and obsessive, but one that was based on freedom, trust, and separation, the dark side would not have been able to control him. Epictetus gives harsh but wise advice about how we should feel about things we love. We should see them for what they really are, which is things that will break or die. He tells us to keep in mind that our love is for broad groups, not for individual people. For instance, if we like a ceramic cup, we should realize that we like ceramic cups in general, so if it breaks, it will not bother us too much. In the same way, if we kiss our child or partner, we should think of them as people, so we will not be so sad if they die. Letting go of material things is number 5. The relentless chase of material things is what keeps people in the rat race, where they work long hours at jobs they hate and follow exhausting patterns. Society makes us think that happiness depends on things outside of ourselves, like a certain income, social status, a certain group of friends, or a house in the neighborhoods. We are told we cannot be happy as long as we do not have these things. But we need to think about whether or not these things are worth doing. Most of the time, luck and chance play a big role in these activities. Trying to do this is like trying to fight forces we can never really beat. Seneca questions the worth of these things in his letter to Lucilius, called On True and False Riches. Do things like gold chairs, furniture with jewels, etc. really make us happy? Or are they ways to show that you have a good life? Seneca says that our happiness should not depend on anything outside of ourselves, not even wealth like gold and silver, or even water and mush. This way of thinking makes us independent of outside events, no matter how small. Seneca also says that the person who is truly free is not the one who is only slightly affected by luck, but the person who luck has no power over at all. He talks about what his teacher Attus said and stresses that thinking about these things helps us not just try to look happy, but to really be happy, finding happiness within ourselves instead of trying to get it from other people. 6th, giving ourselves the power to act. When we are provoked, insulted, or otherwise made to feel bad, our first response is often to get angry and hostile. In this way, the system gives other people the power to make us feel bad, which means that their actions can affect what we do. Inadvertently, this makes our happiness depend on what other people do. People with bad qualities like being annoying, toxic, narcissistic, or psychopathic can sneak into our lives like stubborn rain clouds that want to make us suffer by pouring on us their evil. But we have a very important decision. As Viktor Frankl said, there is a space between stimulus and reaction. In that area, we have the power to choose how to act. Our growth and freedom depend on what we do. If we react to these people with anger, fear, or hatred, we give them the key to our mental health. On the other hand, if we do not care about them, they cannot get into our hearts and thoughts and just pollute the space around us. By making this decision, we protect our rights and peace of mind. The lesson is clear. We are only slaves if we choose to be or do not understand that we have the power to choose freedom. Number 7, accepting that you will die. Some people say that the fear of death is the root of all other fears. Like the fear of pain, the fear of death can change the way we live in big ways. The Stoics say that living a good life is more important than living a long life. We have no control over how long we will live, but we do have a say in how good our lives will be. If we are afraid of dying, we might only live to avoid it instead of really living and making our lives special. This fear makes us constantly avoid even the smallest sign of danger and look for situations that make us feel like we are safe. This makes us nervous sheep who follow any shepherd who promises another day of light. But no caretaker can save us from the unavoidable result of life, the breakdown of our sense of self and the return of our bodies to nature. Fearing death is pointless and, what is worse, dangerous, because it could stop us from living bravely and well. Marcus Aurelius says that death is just as normal as growing up, becoming an adult, or getting your first gray hair. Everything comes into being, dies, and changes over time. A wise person should look forward to death, not with indifference, impatience, or disdain, but by recognizing it as a necessary part of life, the same way we look forward to the birth of a child. We should wait for the time when our soul will leave its body on earth. And that is all for today. Stoicism teaches us to be good people, to get wiser, and to face problems in life with calmness. By signing up, you show your commitment to these Stoic ideas, and we will talk about how to live a meaningful life together. I really hope this video was fun for you. Please check out the ebook in the saved comment here. I am sure you will enjoy it.